It marks the most significant date on the equestrian calendar and has since 1976. To win on the final day of the Spruce Meadows Masters ensures a place in show jumping history for both horse and rider. The test is technical. The test is immense. The rewards immeasurable. The CP International, presented by Rolex. Champions made here.
And hoist the hardware, symbolic of international show jumping supremacy at the Spruce Meadows Masters.
Welcome to the 1976 Spruce Meadows Masters, and this afternoon we'll be featuring highlights of the
Ian Miller and Big Ben, our 1991
Are you ready?
I hope so, Ian. This is going to be really exciting.
International show jumping unlike any other day at any other place. The CP International, presented by Rolex on the final day of the Spruce Meadows Masters. More than 60,000 people on the grounds today. The world's best have qualified to compete. 51 started the day. We are now down to the round of 12, and they are getting their first look at this second round course designed by Leopoldo Palacios as they dream to capture that trophy. Many have done it before, like those two, Eric Lamaze and Beezie Madden. Steve Guerdat hungers for it. But no one has been stronger in the last couple of days at Spruce Meadows than the team from Belgium. Peter Clemens, Olivier Philipparts, Yves Vanderhasselt, and veteran Francois Matty Jr., who all contributed to a dominant Belgium victory in the BMO Nations Cup. It was the first time Belgium had ever won Team Glory at Spruce Meadows.
I think Peter and Olivier made the task very easy for us by delivering 2 double clears. So, I came in the ring very relaxed because I knew Yves was behind me and was going to deliver it if I didn't. So was no problem. It was easy. No, I think it was fantastic. They were the only double clears in the class. So I think it's important to underline that. And for sure, when you start like that, it's motivating also for the rest of the team. And I think we were happy to be able to deliver that victory that we never had here.
We do talk a lot about the rounds. Also today in the morning we walked the course together with the team manager, and before the Nations Cup started we walked the course again, and after each round we also communicated to avoid faults in the second round.
And now Team Belgium focuses on keeping that momentum going here on the final day of the Masters. Drastically different conditions, but they have put 2 into the second round of competition. But those 2 will have to get through some of the very best the sport has ever known, including Beezie Madden of the United States, former winner of this event, 2-time Olympic team gold medalist, former World Cup champion, number 2 all-time at Spruce Meadows in Monies Won. And with this little Dutch stallion, Darry Lou, she has become a crowd favorite and a ferocious favorite against any field in the world. Beezie Madden of the United States. And of course, this field includes world number 1, Steve Guerdat, the reigning World Cup champion of show jumping, the former Olympic champion, comes to Spruce Meadows with plenty of horsepower with Venard, the 16-year-old Selle Francais gelding. Guerdat has been focused on this event all year. He's the only rider ever to have competed in every one of the Rolex Grand Slam events in Germany, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and at the Spruce Meadows Masters. Canada's Eric Lamaze, former world #1, former Olympic champion, has had a great string of successes at this year's Masters tournament with 3 different horses, Coco Bongo, Choco Kid, and today he will compete with his Olympic bronze medal teammate, Fine Lady 5. Eric knows he will be a fan favorite today, but he knows every one of these riders is appreciated by the knowledgeable fans at Spruce Meadows.
I think they'll cheer us loud for France as they will cheer for any country being showcased in the Nations Cup or in the Grand Prix. I have found that it's the fans are fair player, but yeah, we do have a little louder noise as we come in the ring as a Canadian. But they clap just as hard when the European French rider puts in a clear round. I think that they appreciate the effort and they know how hard it is to go through the weekend here at Spruce Meadows with one of the toughest Nations Cup and one of the hardest Grand Prix in the world, in my opinion, Rolex Grand Slam. So they appreciate what we do, and they reward every rider, which is great to see.
The rewards, unlike any other day or any other place in international show jumping. 60,000 fans on hand, the world's best. The CP International, presented by Rolex, returns right after this. The final day of the Spruce Meadows season of international sport, and with it, the pinnacle of international show jumping, the CP International, presented by Rolex. The crowd has arrived by the tens of thousands under gray conditions today. Perfect for jumping, cool gray conditions, no shadows, and the storyline is already unfolding. Kent Farrington of the United States, coming off a Rolex Grand Slam victory in Aachen, Germany earlier this year, wanting to continue on his journey. However, at the Canada Planks in round 1, disaster. And with that, they failed to advance to round 2. Also failing to advance, Egypt's Sami El Daham, the defending champion of the CP International with his lovely mare Suma Zorro. This big vertical at the north end of the stadium meant they no longer had a chance to defend the title. Newly crowned European champion from Switzerland, Martin Fuchs, clearly a pre-event favorite. Things were going so well until this final line with his great gelding Clooney. A little distraction at the outgate, unable to cover the Oxer. 4 faults in a time of 90.54. Not good enough to make the top 12 here at Spruce Meadows today. Twelve have advanced to the second round of the $3 million CP International presented by Rolex. They will be returning in their reverse order of performance from the first round. A first round that featured over 50 horse rider combinations. And there you see Canada's Eric Lamaze with the fastest of the clears has earned the right to have that 12th and final start position here in the international ring at Spruce Meadows as we get underway with second round coverage. And what a day it is. Some 60,000 fans on site today, 435 meters of course, 8 numbered obstacles, 9 jumping efforts. The time allowed, 66 seconds for the 12 horse rider combinations that have advanced to round number 2 here at Spruce Meadows. And our pathfinder today will be Massimo Grossato of Italy. Coming into the ring now, he has inspected this course between rounds and now will be underway before a hushed stadium, carrying 4 faults from the first round. He's aboard Lazzaro. This is a 2009 model, Italian-bred gelding. Massimo Grossato, winner earlier this week at the Masters tournament to qualify into the CP International, and now looking to take a step in the Rolex Grand Slam. And over that number 3 obstacle here in round number 2, the Beijing Dragons, he pulls a second rail for the afternoon, currently sitting on 8 faults over 2 rounds. As he makes his way around the course, and the Toulouse Cathedrals come down as well, part of the Spruce Meadows Championship collection, featured here in the second round of competition. So 2 rails here in round number 2, combined with his first round scores. He powers through the first of 3 double combinations featured here on course, and here comes a test. Leopoldo Palacios has a pair of oxers over the Liverpools, then a pair of very steep verticals measuring 1.62 meters, coming in nicely. Beautifully done by this bay horse. Now you've got to package up the Dutch bicycle. Number 1. Excellent effort by this combination as they approach the final fence. And over that final oxer time, a little bit of a difficulty for them. Time allowed 66 seconds here. They will incur 1 time fault as well. So our entry from Italy, 4 in the first round, 9 in the second round, for a total of 13. And here's a look at the first of those rails, taking the front rail down at the Beijing Dragons, and here at this big vertical, the Toulouse Cathedrals, jumping over the stained glass. So currently sitting in first, but the first of 12 to go here in the second round of competition at the Spruce Meadows Masters. 2-round total faults of 13 for our entry from Italy. Cara Chad of Canada comes into the international ring at Spruce Meadows, much to the delight of this huge crowd on hand. The young Canadian rider earning her ticket to round number 2 by virtue of just 1 time fault in the first round of competition. Aboard Kidamo, her Swiss warmblood, just 9 years of age. She is going to take some time down at the south end of the stadium to give this big fella a chance to see these Liverpools. Her 45-second countdown clock is underway as she settles in and looks to post a clear round to go to the top of the standings, and not without precedent that 1 time fault can win this event. Let's see if Cara Chad can put the pressure on the rest of the field now as she approaches the Beijing wall. And now on to the Dragons. Nicely done. 435 meters this second round course. Leopoldo Palacios is asking not only the technical questions of strides and tight distances, but these fences are immense in height as she turns back to take on the triple bar. And now on to the first of 3 double combinations. The CP vertical out over the locomotives. So far, so good for the young Canadian. Very nice round to date with 5 obstacles left. Here we come into the combination. Oh, 4 faults there and another 4. So that will really add to her score. Can she keep it? No, she cannot at just the 2 rails. So currently sitting on 12 plus time here in the second round. As quickly as that, things can unfold in the international ring. So 13 faults in the second round, combined with her first round time fault. And Cara Chad finishes up with 14 over 2 rounds. Here's a look at coming into the combination. The gelding had a look quite not squared up to hit the proper distance coming into those Liverpools. Did a good job recovering to get out, but by then the damage was done before she headed on to the pair of verticals. So Cara Chad's second round score, 13, as we get ready to welcome Belgium great Francois Matty when we return to Spruce Meadows. Our coverage of the CP International presented by Rolex from the Spruce Meadows Masters continues, and there's a look at Belgium veteran Francois Matty getting ready to take on this second round course. Currently, Italy leads the way. Massimo Grossato has 13 faults over 2 rounds. Francois Matty aboard Uno de la Rock, getting ready to change that if he can, bringing just 1 time fault from the first round of competition. If he happens to post a clear round or anything less than 12 faults, he will go to the top of the standings. As we get into the heart of the order here, Belgium enjoying a terrific Spruce Meadows Masters, coming off the team championship in the BMO Nations Cup. And thus far, Belgium's Francois Matty Jr. enjoying a great Masters tournament, and he will look to continue that now with his 11-year-old Selle Francais gelding, Uno de la Roque, Francois Matty. And that is a tough way to start. He would certainly like to have that back. That horse looked a little bit sticky coming into round number 1. Now, hopefully it will wake up, because the tests just get bigger, more technical, and a lot more scopy as we move around this course. And right now the horse seems to have awakened as he approaches this massive vertical at the north end of the stadium, and now we'll turn back over this triple bar before heading into the first of the combinations. If he can hold it to 4, he will take the lead. Scooting out over that oxer, using his hind end very well. And now shaping the horse into the corner here to be able to take on this pair of oxers over the water. Meter 52 tall, meter 65 across, no problem. And this is very, very careful jumping, and what a job by Francois Matty and Uno de la Roque. They are on time faults, but he will take that. So 1 time fault, 4 jumping faults, and 1 time fault from the first round for a total of 6. And you know he is very angry with himself for that faux pas at obstacle number 1. What a heartbreaker. It could be $1 million heartbreaker, as the horse just didn't use its back end well. And Francois Matty knows that he may have had a very costly error early on in round number 2. His waiting game commences now. Belgium is in the lead as Francois Matty sits on 6 faults. We turn our attention to a young Swedish rider making her debut at the Spruce Meadows Masters and accounting for herself oh so very well. Evelina Tovek of Sweden. The Lila is underway now with the young Swedish rider. First time in history Sweden was represented by a full team here at the Masters tournament. We've had the likes of Rolf Goran Bengtsson and Malin Barjard, Maria Gretzer in the past, Henrik von Eckermann, but this year the team competing in the BMO Nations Cup, and a number of them qualifying for final day competition here in the CP International. She brings with her 1 time fault from the first round aboard this beautiful mare, just 10 years of age, Delilah, with Evelina Tovek, currently clear. Look at the form over the triple bar there. Beautiful horse, great with its front legs, has a bit of a rub there, recovers nicely over the oxer. Great equitation shown by this young Swedish rider, singing nicely in the saddle. She and the mare have a great symmetry. And now the test, the attention through this double of Liverpool's. First time the horse has seen this. Using itself well. Now don't get distracted by the clock tower. Oh, got in a little deep. 2 rails down there at the verticals. So for Evelina Tovek, problems in the last 100 meters or so, and with the clock, as one might expect with Leopoldo Palacios. So 67.52, incurring 1 time fault in combination with the 8 jumping faults. Here's a look at the horse using great form over that oxer, that massive CP oxer. But the problems came here, this pair of verticals, 1.62 meters each, and the lightest of touches on those flat cups, and down they both come, the pair of Dutch bicycles. Total of 10 faults to put them currently into 2nd position as we turn our attention to what has been a terrific story at the Spruce Meadows Masters for this Belgium rider. After jumping clean in the Nations Cup with Jeunesse, Yves Vanderhasselt looking to take Belgium perhaps into a 1-2 position here at the Masters tournament. His countryman, Francois Matty Jr., sits at the top of the standings with 6 faults. This horse, such a beautiful mare, and has really performed well at her first Masters, just 10 years of age, and with the young Belgium rider here too for his first time. They've accounted very well and would like nothing more than to win one of the sports majors today here. A lot of jumping ahead though, so let's see if Jeunesse can keep her form. Beautiful example of a modern day sport horse. Settling her into that vertical, and now going to give her lots of time. However, being mindful of the clock, they have to maintain that pace of 400 meters per minute over the triple bar to get your form into this combination. Great balance there. Big stretch, not able to cover with their back legs over the oxer, so now having 4 faults as their 2-round total with this last line of 5 to go into the Liverpools. Front rail down with the front legs, checking. Time will be an issue here. Nicely over the final fence, but finishing up with 2 time faults and 12 jumping faults for a 2-round total of 14. So Belgium continues to lead the way here at Spruce Meadows. However, it is not this man, Yves Vanderhasselt, who is finished up and will settle in behind his countryman, Francois Matty Jr. There's a look at Ludo Philipparts, the great Belgium veteran, looking on. Francois Matty of Belgium leads the way. World #1 Steve Guerdat from Switzerland when we return to Spruce Meadows. Welcome back to the Spruce Meadows Masters and our coverage of the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping, the CP International. Belgium currently leads the way, some 22 nations represented at the Spruce Meadows Masters 2019 edition. And a number of those nations have earned their way onto the leaderboard. There you can see Francois Matty Jr. leading the way for Belgium, but Sweden, Italy, and Cara Chad of Canada also in the top 5 right now as we reach the halfway point of those 12 that have advanced, and the remaining horse rider combinations all come into this second round, having posted clear rounds in round #1, including this man, Willem Greve of the Netherlands. Zypria is this beautiful 12-year-old mare, has performed so well at the Masters to earn her way and to bring Willem Greve into round #2. They will look to continue that now, but as we have seen, it is immensely tough out there, and you can take nothing for granted, including the first fence, which is typically considered a gift. Well, just ask Francois Matty Jr., who had it down for the only blemish on his scorecard so far. He leads the way, looking to crack the leaderboard now. The first of our Dutch riders, Willem Greve. Oh, and that's the lightest of touches on the Beijing wall. That obstacle first unveiled at the 2008 Summer Olympic Games. And now the top piece of it resting on the international ring at Spruce Meadows as a costly reminder to the young Dutch rider. Not an empty seat in the magnificent international ring here at Spruce Meadows, with high overcast, temperature in the mid-teens. Perfect jumping conditions. However, I'm sure Leopoldo Palacios had anticipated a few shadows coming into play on his course design. He hasn't really needed them as part of his tool chest, as this course has proved plenty tough. Coming into the Liverpools. This is looking very good, but you need to keep the attention here. The Dutch bite comes down, so with the Beijing wall and the Dutch bike and a few time faults, there you see how things unfold and how quickly they can change. Having come in with a clear score sheet from round #1, now sitting on 10 over 2 rounds is Willem Greve of the Netherlands. And there you see just the lightest of touches early on at the Beijing wall for the first of his jumping faults, and then just not able to get the front legs up over the infamous Dutch bicycle, which was first introduced to Spruce Meadows following the 1994 World Equestrian Games in Rotterdam, where it was unveiled. And here's a man that knows all too much about championship show jumping, former Olympic champion, world #1, Steve Guerdat of Switzerland, a fan favorite wherever he competes around the world, and he and Vanard spent a good portion of the summer here at Spruce Meadows preparing for this environment in which they find themselves today. This is a 15-year-old Selle Francais gelding, Steve Guerdat. Such an incredible career thus far, and it is far from over. World Cup titles, Olympic Games, world #1, winner on many occasions around the world, the only rider to have competed at every Rolex Grand Slam event since their introduction to the sport in 2013. And he would like nothing more than to jump to victory today, and he is currently sitting on a perfect scorecard. So cool, so calculated. Oh, the lightest of touches down at the north end of the stadium over the cathedral spires from the World Equestrian Games in Normandy. Now, through the combination, can he keep it to 4? If he can, he goes to the top of the standings. Francois Matty Jr. leads the way on 6. Time is very tight, let's remember. Total of 66 seconds, our time allowed here in round #2. And another 4, so he will not go to the top of the standings and make it 12 here in round #2, and that is indeed a disappointment for the great Steve Guerdat, who had such focus on this Grand Prix title today with Vanard, and it all comes to a crashing halt in the final few meters here. There you see an early rail, still had him in the lead, but as he came into this �62 vertical and the quick recoil to get over the second, both come down, and the cat-like reflexes of Bernard were not there today. And there's the story for Steve Guerdat. More from the CP International at the Spruce Meadows Masters when we return to the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping. The international ring at Spruce Meadows, center stage for the world of international show jumping today, as Francois Matty Jr. leads the way in the CP International, presented by Rolex. $3 million on the line today, and looking to take a good chunk of that change will be this man, Max Kuhner of Austria. Such a tremendous Spruce Meadows Masters, his first ever. Ranked number 20 in the world, and this stallion Chardonnay has been nothing short of magnificent, debuting at Spruce Meadows this year. 12-year-old Holsteiner. During the evening of the horse 6-bar competition, this combination jumped 1.95 m to lay claim to victory. And Max Kuhner used that as a preparation for the most demanding day on the sports calendar today. And it's with Chardonnay he'll find out whether or not it was a vintage choice. Look at the expression on this horse's face, listening to everything that Max is communicating through his hand and leg. Now getting ready to take on this difficult line. First time ever for this stallion through the Spruce Meadows Liverpools that have major oxers built over them. Nicely done. Now keep his attention past the out gate here to these verticals. Not quite able to get it done, but very, very agile in getting recoiled for the second of those. So Max Kuhner of Austria now leads the way on 5 faults, narrowly stepping up ahead of Francois Matty, who would dearly like to have fence number 1 back, I can assure you that. As with that, he moves out of top place, and that's a 6-figure drop in the standings in terms of the prize money today. And here's a look at the only issue on course. Dutch Bicycle 10A comes down. Max Kuhner takes Austria to the top of the standings with just a handful of horses still to go, but they are the ones that qualified clean and fast from the first round of competition. So Max Kuhner's waiting game will be long. There's a look at John Brooks, the Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer for CP, taking the salute from our athletes in the center of the arena today, as a hush once again falls over the stadium that is absolutely jam-packed, looking for its first double clear of the day. And will it come from Australia? Blue Movie is the name of this horse, a 13-year-old Anglo-European sport horse. Chestnut mare ridden by Rowan Willis of Australia. Came to Spruce Meadows in the summer series, all part of his plan in preparation of the Masters, and then ultimately to qualify for today as his road to the Tokyo Olympics with this horse continues. And this certainly will be a test very much like that of the final day of a championship, perhaps tougher, as Rowan Willis is underway with Blue Movie. Now, time should not be a problem rather. These two always carry a lot of energy and pace as long as they don't waste it on course today. And right now they look to be carrying good energy, very short rein, as is the signature of these two, keeping this mare moving into the bridle. Oh, she pulls a rail at the oxer, and he really encourages her out over the oxer. The rail coming down, of course, at the vertical coming into that combination. He's sitting on 4. If he keeps it there, he goes to the top of the standings. Now, don't get too fussy coming in here. Bit of a rub, nicely done. Checking, balancing, vertical, vertical. The crowd can sense it. Listen to them here at Spruce Meadows. Is he fast enough? Yes, by 7/100ths of a second. Rowan Willis of Australia moves to the top of the standings ahead of Austria's Max Kuhner. And there's a look at his support team looking on from the clock tower here at Spruce Meadows. He's checking that scoreboard again. Is it true? Does it say number 1? And he would dearly like this vertical back right there. The mare tried to get her legs up, not quite able to tuck up her landing gear in time. And then here she is powering over the final fence across the finish line, just under the time allowed. And they now sit in the gold medal position here at Spruce Meadows with just 3 left to go in the CP International. The bell has sounded for the second of the Dutch riders to make it to round 2. Clearly the tallest of those that have qualified. This is Frank Schuttert, who stands about 6'6" tall. You can see there the long, lean Dutchman aboard this beautiful bay gelding, 10 years of age, Queensland. Australia leads the way. Rowan Willis, and looking to change that will be Frank Schuttert, carrying on a great tradition of great Dutch performances in this event over the years. The great Jeroen Dubbeldam, Rob Aarons with Kuhner, one of the early champions of this Grand Prix. Seemingly mindful of the clock, Schuttert is determined to come out with some really good pace. This horse owned by the great Jos Lansing, who's no stranger to victory here. However, when Jos won this championship, he had changed his nationalities and was riding for Belgium after winning both a World Cup title and an Olympic gold medal for the Netherlands. Now he's coaching and owning, and it looks like he's got his rider in pretty good form here. Oh, and down comes the CP planks. That's the first time we've seen that white plank come down here in round number 2. He can still have a taste of the lead. Oh, I spoke too soon. So a second rail down means that Australia still leads the way, and now the wheels are really falling off for the young Dutchman as Queensland is sitting on 12 faults over the final fence. Time not a problem, but the 12 faults will prevent him from going to the top of the standings, and indeed 4 faults would have had us tied equal at the top of the standings and perhaps jumping off, but that is not to be. There's a look Look at that, completely flat cups. You cannot touch those planks at the top of that vertical. And then coming into the Liverpools, another rail down, and any hopes of advancing to the jump off. Is there a double clear in the cards today at Spruce Meadows? Two of the sports greats still to come, Beezie Madden and Eric Lamaze, when we return to the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping. The CP International presented by Rolex continues from the Spruce Meadows Masters. There's a look at the current leaderboard. Rowan Willis of Australia leads the way. Missing from that leaderboard, an American and or a Canadian flag. Still to come, an American and a Canadian. Let's go to Beezie Madden. Two-time Olympic team gold medalist, former World Cup champion. She and Eric Lamaze, who is still to come, are number 1 and 2 all time in the international ring at Spruce Meadows. And Beezie Madden with Darry Lou, this beautiful flaxen mane stallion, is underway right now. She was clean and fast and efficient, as she always is in round number 1. Now looking to post a coveted double clear to go to the top of the standings. There's a jump that she knows well from her team gold medal at the Beijing Olympics. Such a rider, such a great resume with great horses such as Authentic, Judgment, Breitling, Simon, and now Darry Lou is carrying her dreams here in the international ring at Spruce Meadows. And what a horse this is. 11-year-old Dutch Warmblood. Not very big, but he's got a good motor. Now, Beezie would take a time fault, but of course she wants to jump double clean, but she's going to give him plenty of time to see these Liverpools. Nicely in. Oh, so quiet as she settles him with her voice. Very careful jumping. Oh. Beezie Madden, final fence. She's done it. Oh, but not quite quickly enough. She looks at the clock. She knows how tough it is. She's left the door open just a smidge, however, for the great Eric Lamaze, as she now sits on 1 time fault over 2 rounds. Her waiting game will not be long. Look at the way this little stallion uses himself through that combination. Beezie rode that pure equitation. She is such a master, so quiet, does not get in the horse's way. Nothing confusing. A pure master of this sport is Beezie Madden as she exits the ring now, and in comes Eric Lamaze. Former Olympic champion, Olympic bronze medalist from the Rio Games with this horse, Fine Lady 5. Eric Lamaze aboard the 16-year-old mare will now look to take Beezie Madden and her stallion out of first place. What a showdown it is. Battle of the sexes here in the international ring at Spruce Meadows between both the horses and the riders. Our final entry, unless of course there is a jump off force. That would mean that Eric jumps clean with a single time fault. He has nothing of the sort in his mind. He wants to jump clean within the time allowed of 66 seconds. Going deep into the corner to give Fine Lady a good look at this and to give him some good forward speed to start this second round. Eric Lamaze and Fine Lady 5. Oh, that was $1 million brick. Not able to get her front feet up. Lamaze will now be pressing for second place. Rowan Willis sitting there on 4 faults over 2 rounds, but Lamaze had the faster time in the first round of competition. So by virtue of that, he's currently ahead of Rowan Willis, but he has to keep it to 4. Nicely over the triple bar. Look at this mare. She looks so sharp. Despite being a little bit longer in the tooth, he manages her so well. They're on a bit of a mission together. Eric Lamaze and Fine Lady into the Liverpools. Handled with ease. And out. No, a second rail down. So from second place down the standings he goes. Time is not a problem. Eric Lamaze will not win. That lady will win her second CP International. She did it before on Judgment in 2005. Another Dutch stallion, much larger, much different color, but the same result. Beezie Madden and Darry Lou jumped to victory at Spruce Meadows. A gold medal performance. That man wanted to win his third here. 2 occasions before with Hickstead, but today with Fine Lady 5. This early rail just getting a little deep to the Beijing wall, and down it comes. Lightest of touches, and that is a $1 million brick that falls to the ground for Eric Lamaze as he finishes up his day and his Spruce Meadows season, and he is a fan favorite, as is that woman. Beezie Madden, one of the all-time greats, and by virtue of that win, goes to the top of the standings in all-time money won here at Spruce Meadows. And I think that might even been a little tear in the eye of Beezie. Not usually very emotional after wins, but all of these riders know how tough it was to win today. Rowan Willis, he has the face of a champion himself, and there's John Madden coming over to congratulate his wife on a job well done and another championship. As we look at the final results here at the CP International presented by Rolex, Beezie Madden, Rowan Willis, and Max Kuhner are the 3 medalists today. And what a roster, the top 12 that made the second round from around the world here at the Spruce Meadows Masters. We will meet our champion when we return to our championship presentation in the International Ring at Spruce Meadows.
Ladies and gentlemen, an incredible day of sport here at the Spruce Meadows Masters for the 2019 CP International. You have now seen why she's considered one of the best in history. A fan favorite here, of course, Beezie Madden of the United States. And her magnificent stallion, Darry Lou. In true Canadian fashion, she came out of the ring. She said, wow, that was tough sledding. Tell us about the day.
Yeah, I mean, the first round my horse felt amazing, and I was really happy with him. Second round I came in, he kind of hit the back rail of the first fence, and then he held off the next few fences, and I said, wow, this is going to be a little bit hard work for him. I better kick him a little harder, and he responded to it, and I left the door open a little with a time fault, but it was so hard to jump clear.
When you were walking the course this morning, you and John said this is going to be an immense test. It'll live up to everything you expected?
Yes, for sure. I was actually, wasn't even sure there would be any double clears. I asked if they bothered to make a jump off, but and their answer was maybe we'll be jumping off for 8 faults. So that really gave me a vote of confidence there. But no, it was typical Leopoldo, Spruce Meadows, beautiful crowd, atmosphere, and a fantastic event.
A fantastic event, a fantastic winner, ladies and gentlemen, one of the all-time greats. And bearing witness to it all in the center of the ring, Nadim, your impressions of the competition today with you and all of your colleagues here from CP.
Well, it was an amazing event, as usual. Spruce Meadows, a world-class event and world-class athletes. To me, it was fitting. We watched Bianca yesterday win, amazing female athlete win in New York, and we watched another amazing female athlete from America win on Canadian soil. So it was quite fitting. Thank you.
Well done. This is such a special event. You've done so much, put so much into this sport and this venue. It must give you a great sense of pride when you see what unfolded today in the ring.
We've had an amazing partnership over the years, and it's something that we're very proud of, that we can thank our customers that help support an event like this, and our employees, 13,000 railroaders across the network. It's something that we're very proud of to be partners with the Southern family and with Spruce Meadows.
Well said. I'm now going to invite Nadim Vellani and our champion Beezie Madden to host one of the most coveted pieces of championship hardware in all of sport, ladies and gentlemen, the CP International Part of the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping goes to Beezie Madden of the United States. Today, with Beezie Madden's win, she has put herself in play for the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping, one of the most coveted titles of this or any other sport, won only once by the great Scott Brash. Maxime Lamar, the president and chief executive of Rolex Canada, Joel Eshelman, Henri Torini in with us from Rolex. If you would, please step forward. Beezie, I'd like to introduce you to the men and ladies that have made the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping possible. Congratulations, and thank you so much for the amazing contributions and support that Rolex has provided to this sport for over 60 years.